So yesterday we have covered the halfway superior right view. We end at the Four Noble Truths. We covered the Fourth Noble Truth, and then we end at this paragraph. The state of perfect peace that comes when craving is eliminated is Nibbana. And the Fourth Noble Truth that shows the way to reach the end of suffering, dukkha, the way to the realization of Nibbana, that way is the Noble Eightfold Path itself. Today, we are going to finish up superior right view. I'm going to read the first paragraph and then I will pass on to the next person. So I will start from these lines. The right view of the Four Noble Truths develops in two stages. The first is called the right view that accords with the truth. Sacha Nunomika Samadhi. The second, the right view that penetrates the truth. Sacha Pativeda Samadhi. To acquire the right view that accords with the truth requires a clear understanding of their meaning and significance in our lives. Such an understanding arises first by learning the truths and studying them. Subsequently, it is deepened by reflecting upon them in the light of experience until one gains a strong conviction as to their veracity. Okay, so let's firstly define veracity. Conformity to facts or accuracy. Yeah, this second last line, such an understanding arises first by learning the truth and studying them, which is exactly what we are doing right now. By reading this, we are trying to learn the truth. We are trying to study the truth. Okay. So today, the second one, maybe I pass on to Tammy.
But even at this point, the truth has not been penetrated, and thus the understanding achieved is still defective, a matter of concept rather than perception. To arrive at the experimental realizations of the truth, it is necessary to take up the practice of meditation. First, to strengthen the capacity for sustained concentration, then to develop insight. Insight arises by contemplating the five aggregates, the factor of existence, in order to discern their real characteristic. At the climax of such contemplations, the mental eye turns away from the conditioned phenomena comprised in the aggregates and shift its focus to the unconditioned state, nibbana, where which becomes accessible through the deepened faculty of insight. With this shift, when the mind's eye sees nibbana, there take place a simultaneous penetration of the of all four noble truths. By seeing nibbana, the state beyond dukkha, one gains a perspective from which to view the five aggregates and see they are dukkha simply because they are conditioned, subject to ceaseless change. At the same moment nibbana is realized, craving stops. The understanding then dawns at craving is the true origin of dukkha. When nibbana is seen, it is realized to be the state of peace, free from the turmoil of becoming, and because this experience has been reached by practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, one knows for oneself that the Noble Eightfold Path is truly the way to the end of dukkha. Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe we just close this section first before we share our comments or thoughts. So the last paragraph, maybe how about Xinghui?
The right view that penetrates the Four Noble Truths comes at the end of the path, not at the beginning. We have to start with the right view conforming to the truths, required through learning and fortified through reflection. This view inspires us to take up the practice, to embark on the threefold training in moral discipline, concentration, and wisdom. With the training matures, the eye of wisdom opens by itself, penetrating the truth and freeing the mind from bondage.
Thank you, Xinghui. Okay, so these last three paragraphs. Firstly, the second paragraph, especially this line. Okay, to arrive at the experiential realization of the truth, it is necessary to take up the practice of meditation, first to strengthen the capacity for sustained concentration, then to develop insight. And this is a very brief overview of what is to come near the end of this book. Yeah, so exactly how to do this, we have to read on and to find out. So first of all, any difficult words that you would like to be defined? Xinghui, yes.
For the first, can you shift up a little bit to the first paragraph?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't really understand what they mean by penetrates the truth. Can somebody explain to me? Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Okay, firstly, the first one is defined here in this sentence. The first that accords with the truth, it requires a clear understanding of their meaning and significance in our lives. So how to do that is by learning and studying them. Then the right view that penetrates this truth, I suppose is explained in these lines. It is deepened by reflecting upon them in the light of experience until one gains a strong conviction as to their veracity. But actually not really, because at this line it says that the truth has not been penetrated. So all of this is just explain the first one, the view that accords with the truth, even by learning and by reflecting until one gains a strong conviction. It is just still an intellectual knowledge. So the right view that penetrates the truth, I think, is explained in this paragraph. So to make this view, even though we know intellectually as correct and we have a strong conviction or high confidence that yes, this is the truth, but to really penetrate it to become our own realization, we need to take up the practice of meditation, which is just these lines. Meditation first strengthen the capacity for sustained concentration, then to develop insight. Yes, and the rest are also elaborated more. How to make sure insight arises is by contemplating the five aggregates, the factors of existence, and to see the real characteristics. So I think that's how I would understand it. But Sai Kiang raised her hand just now. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I think what you said is correct. Penetrates the truth means eventually, I think we are able to give up the craving with the wisdom, right? I mean, that is the ultimate goal, right? If we are able to penetrate the truth, that means we can see for ourselves that craving is the thing that we have to give up so that we can attain Nibbana and, you know,
Yes.
and end the suffering, but not just as an intellectual knowledge. That means not just knowing and like what we are learning now, but really through, like what you said, when we do meditation, you know, when we practice, we still need morality support, you know, like and then from there, eventually, that is how we give up the craving. I think that is how we can penetrate the truth. And I think the third paragraph also says that it has to be at the end of the path. That means after we practice and practice and practice and reflect and reflect. And it really comes from inner understanding rather than just conceptual. That means you know, but actually we all know, but we just can't see it because we are so clinging to the five aggregates. You know, we are just we know there's we are subject. You know, everything is subject to change. All this we know. You know, every day we are experiencing it, and then our teachers have been telling us, the Buddha has been telling us, but knowing is one thing, but really whether we can see it for ourselves and willing to renounce, you know, all these worldly desires, sensual pleasures, you know, is really what we're supposed to do, I think.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I think Saikyang made a really good point. Firstly, when Saikyang mentioned about the craving, it's actually at these lines. At the same moment Nibbana is realized, craving stops. The understanding then dawns that craving is the true origin of dukkha. That is Saikyang's first point, right? Yes. And second point is, yeah, I also agree with Saikyang that in a way, it's so simple to at least intellectually grasp what Buddhism is about. I mean, who doesn't agree with impermanence? But the difference here is, I think, as Saikyang has suggested, is that even though we know everything is impermanent, but we don't act like everything is impermanent. Yeah, this is usually what Shifu told us as well. For example, even though I know all these things, all my room and all my things around me, someday will be impermanent. But at the moment right now, when I use it, it don't feel to me as if they are impermanent. It feels like tomorrow they will still be here. And then the next day, the next week, it will still remain, at least to me, it will be the same. Yeah. So I guess I think this is the hardest part of the Buddhism. The theory is simple, but the practice is to realize the theory for our own is the most difficult part. So what do you think about that, Xinghui?
So I suppose the reflection component will trigger us to really I think the reflection might be the bit that asks us to change our practice. Yeah, as in we know what is it, like you have mentioned. But we need to put in some time and effort to reflect and truly understand and remind ourselves not to be so attached and not so clinging. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to reflect is still a good thing to do, but to really penetrate the truth, we really need to focus our mind, which is, again, back to this line. It is necessary to take up the practice of meditation. Yeah. The very specific on how to do it, it will be explored much deeper later on. Yeah. But Reflecting, again, studying, reflecting will help us gain confidence, conviction that these teachings are exactly the way to the end of suffering, which is the first is this path. Yeah, it is still a good thing to do, better than nothing at all. You know, outside of this group, how many people are studying this text? Like, I don't think at least the majority will not study this text. Like, Buddhism is not even the majority religion, and even among Buddhists, not many people know that this kind of systematic study exists. Yeah. So whatever we are doing right now, I think it's still a good thing. Yeah. So thanks, Xing Hui, for the question, and Sai Kiang for participating as well. Okay, how about anyone else? Would you like to add anything, comment, questions as well? Okay, if there's nothing, I think today this is a good place to stop, because the next one we will cover the next component, the second component of the Noble Eightfold Path, right intention. And as I mentioned, this text we will benefit from multiple reading. So if you would like to, please, if you will, you can always read and reread again. Yeah, so how many times do you need to read? 5 times, 10 times, 50 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, 1 lifetime, 50 lifetime, 100 lifetimes. So until we are enlightened, then probably it's a good time to stop. So I'll paste the link again in chat in case you want to read. Okay. So let's end with the dedication. Dedication of merits, please recite together with me. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。Okay, so thanks everyone for participating. See you again next time. Have a truth penetrating day ahead. Okay, bye everyone.
Thanks, Marcel.
Thank you,
Thank
Marcel.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Take care. Stay safe.
Marcel,
Bye.
thanks everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.